Good morning, gentlemen. We are back here in Manhood 401 at Manhood University, and it's great to be back. Listen, I want to take the time to do something that I seem to forget, and that's welcome our new students, if you will. We keep adding numbers, and while these messages are always tailored toward my two favorite men, which are my sons, I'm certainly glad that more and more find these useful every week. So for this week's message, I want to share the words that the Apostle Paul writes in his second letter to the church in Corinth. Chapter 8, verse 11 says, "Now finish the work so that your eager willingness to do it may be matched by your completion of it, according to your means." And verse 12 goes on to say, "For if the willingness is there, the gift is acceptable according to what one has, not to what one does not have." Now, with that in mind, I want to speak directly to three groups of men today. Our first group of men are the newest class of college freshmen. You remember that the last lesson of 301 was almost exclusively for you. So you may see this as a bit of a progress check. Just 5 months ago, you were dreaming about the summer, pretending not to be nervous about what college would be like. You're about halfway through the first semester of college, and you may be thinking, what did I get myself into? Now, we told you that college would be different. In fact, for you first generation college students, we told you that your classmates would be second, third, and fourth generation students who are equipped with two things that you're not: tons of advice and their parents' money. But you're different. You probably barely got in on scholarships and you're desperately hoping you don't have to take out a loan. And I know because I've been there. Your peers, they have more than a little spare change. And they seem to keep up with fashion, music, and social life just like back in high school. I guess some things never change. And now you're sitting there, you're finding out the classes are a little bit harder. The social landscape, regardless of how progressive though, still consists of the same main groups. And no matter what your parents told you, you still want to fit in. Did you find those difficult classes yet? How about those breezy professors that don't yell, but they still record your failing grades? Did you notice that you can find alcohol almost easier than a study group? Are you drawn in by the parties? Have you started to doubt whether or not this is for you? Are you off track already? You see, this is about the time that the 40% of men who start but never finish college begin to drop like flies. And if you let me, I'll try to throw you a lifeline. Okay, so maybe you have looked around and seen that your struggle looks a little different from everyone else. But wait, why did you go to college in the first place? Remember that? Remember the education, the better life, the journey of self-discovery? Remember those hopes and dreams? Were they just empty words? What about everybody back home who sacrificed for you to get here? Look, if this was easy, everyone would do it. What you have to remember is why you started. Your goals have to become more important than this feeling you have in the pit of your stomach. So quit crying, dust yourself off, drop the clique that you've been allowing to lead you to nowhere, and find a study group. Get with a young adult ministry, get a part-time job, and remember that you're in this for more than just the right now. Finish what you started. This is about your future, and I promise you, if you quit now, you will regret it. You can do this. You have to choose to every day. And in my second group of men, those are those who just stepped out on faith recently. You started a small business or a nonprofit. Or maybe you felt the call to get involved in community leadership. After the first couple of years being your own boss, you may feel like it was better letting somebody else pay you a salary. And that's how the first years feel. But you didn't go into business to get rich quick, did you? Because that's not realistic. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So go through your books, learn how to advertise, learn how to do as many aspects of your business on your own as you can before hiring someone. You'll see more of your money coming back to you, but more importantly, you'll be educated about every aspect of your business and you won't feel overwhelmed. And when your company does grow, it will be manageable. If you had the courage to start, have the courage to see it through. Now, for those who started that nonprofit, it may be a bit challenging. Hey, getting people to agree with your vision was easy, but getting them to show up, well, you've heard of the 80-20 rule. 20% of your folks will do 80% of the work. But when you're talking about getting volunteers, that rule changes to about 90-10. But what was your heart when you started? Remember, you wanted to change things. You wanted to help people. You wanted to see growth. And you can't walk away when it gets tough. You have to accept that you and your board will likely be at just about every event, every fundraiser. You may be the only ones at meetings when there's no media involved, but let the goal that started you sustain you. Now, maybe you want to affect change in your school board or your PTA, or maybe in your city or state government. You want to find out how ugly human beings can be? Try changing the system. Not tweeting, not protesting. Try actually running for office or pushing for a ballot initiative. Men are leaders, right? And you will find support if you're doing what's right. But the backlash from the status quo, that can make you feel like you just got your legs chopped off at the knees. When the arrows are pointing at you, when your presence is what's driving the change, that's when things get real. Before you hang it up, think about all those supporters and volunteers who got behind your message in the first place. You're tired? So are they. Finish what you started. My last group, you're the fathers. Yes, I have to talk to you because your work is important. Dads, your job goes beyond 18 years, and it certainly doesn't consist of child support payments and the occasional weekend visit. You have to be part of your child's life until they no longer need your influence. That commitment, my friend, is a lifetime one. It starts with the young lady you chose to lay down with. We've said it before here, but if there's no future with her, why get involved in the first place? Your marriage is forever, and how you handle that relationship will affect how you handle the one with your children. I'll say the long version for Father's Day, but dads, you owe your sons and daughters an ear, a shoulder to cry on, a sounding board, a voice of reason, and an example of a godly man. Husbands, you owe your wives comfort, love, support, transparency, candor, fidelity, and an open heart. When the going gets tough in your marriage, when your relationships with your children are strained, you can't cut and run. For the rest of your life, these are the races you have to finish. For all the men that we've addressed today, listen, there will always be that voice telling you that you can't, that this was a mistake and you need to get out now and go back to your mediocre life. At least that was simple and predictable. There's that voice that says, you can't do that. You don't have what they have. Other people are more qualified than you. Well, wait though, didn't Paul tell us that if our willingness is there, our gift is acceptable according to what we have, not what we don't? So that tells me, first off, that half of winning is showing up. We were willing to do what others didn't, and that's stepping up to the plate, going to college, starting a business, running for office, taking that promotion, raising a family with one woman. And second, if we're honoring God with the things we do, then whatever fruit we produce is based not on what we're coveting from someone else, but on what we have. Remember that if God has you there, he'll give you everything you need to sustain yourself. Philippians 1:6 says that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. If God hasn't given up on you, if he hasn't told you to change directions, if he's going to finish what he started, well, there you have it. Hey, fellas, thanks for tuning in. If you feel like this message wasn't for you, if you've got nothing to finish, then you need to start something. All right? I'll see you guys all back here next week. God bless you.